Am I the asshole for banning my brother from family events after he paid and took my son for a nose job? My son is 18 and has always had an issue with his nose. Okay, so it's slightly hooked, but it's not ugly and it's not causing problems. He asked for money to get a nose job, and me and his mom said no. My brother was always really close with him, and he promised him the best graduation present ever. We were thinking it would be some oscillating fan or a gift card or something, and I thought nothing of it. But what he got him for his graduation was a nose job. It was this big secret that I didn't know about. He actually lied to me about being at his mom's house and then lied to her about being at my house. Then he said that he was at a friend's house when he was at my brother's for a week after the procedure. When I saw my son, he looked like he had been slugged in the face. I thought he was joking when he said that he got his nose job. My brother said he did nothing wrong and just did what me and his mom couldn't do and paid for it and accepted it because our son is not a little kid anymore. Honestly, at this point, I don't even recognize my son. Of course, he says that he's happy with the results, but it's not even close to being healed. I felt so betrayed that I banned my brother from coming over. Does that make me wrong? Am I the asshole for threatening to sue my sister because her kids broke my iPad? Okay, so for starters, my sister has 3 kids, 4, 6, and 8. We were all staying at my parents' house for the holidays. I have a 1 terabyte iPad Pro with the largest screen model that I use for my job. Needless to say, it was expensive. I do digital commissions, design band posters, and design flyers to make money on the side as I'm in college. I saved up for a whole year to buy this iPad. I left it plugged into my father's study where I was working on some projects the night before. I got up in the morning to find the thing shattered in the living room. My sister nonchalantly apologized and said, "Oh, sorry, the kids broke the screen." Dad said he has a new one that he'll give you to replace it. She didn't even bother to wake me up when she saw that they broke it. I asked her why she wasn't watching her fucking kids and how they got my iPad. She said she gave it to them so they could watch. My sister said she gave her kids my $1,500 iPad to watch YouTube on. Obviously, I started yelling at her and I asked her what gave her the nerve to let her kids use my stuff without asking me first. She called me selfish. Then she said that they're my nieces and nephews and I should want to share with them. What the hell? My dad then tried to give me an iPad Air and tell me that it was the same thing. I told him it was unacceptable and that I wanted my iPad replaced immediately. He said he didn't have the money, so I went to my sister and demanded the money. She tried to ask if she could make payments as the cost would wipe out all of her savings. I said, hell no. I wanted the full cost of the iPad, the pencil, and the $250 that I was going to miss out on because I couldn't finish the project that I was working on. So the total was around $2,200. She tried to call me heartless and told me to think of my niece and nephew. I told her to go fuck herself, and if she was a better mother, she would have saved more than $2,000 having 3 kids. My parents think I'm overreacting, but I don't. Now she's avoiding me and not talking to me, but I told her that I'm going to sue her for the full cost of my iPad. I mean, am I the asshole for suing my broke sister just because she can't watch her fucking kids? Am I the asshole for not taking down my video that was a gift from my best man? I have a sister that's 6 years older than me. My parents for years cancel on me last minute because of my sister. I have a basketball game. Oops, sorry, sister doesn't feel like going. I'm graduating. Oops, sorry, sister had a bad day at work. They have missed both major and smaller events in my life because of her meltdowns. I met the love of my life. We decided to tie the knot. From the beginning, I told my parents how worried I am that my sister will ruin another special moment in my life. My mom told me over and over again that it wouldn't happen. The day of my wedding, I received a voicemail from my mom saying that they couldn't come because my sister's dog was sick and she was really upset. I was hurt. My best man, however, is a jokester. He took my phone and then went to my fiance and asked if he could post a video of our wedding as a gift on social media. She loved his idea. I had no idea about it until I came home. Our honeymoon was at a lakeside cabin. No cell service. The post caption read, "My best friend. He is an amazing person even if his parents never show up for him." Then there were pictures of us next to her parents, me on the dance floor, cutting the cake, photos where you would normally see both parents in wedding pictures. The sound in the back of the video was my mom's voicemail explaining how they couldn't come because my sister's dog was sick. I came home a week later to hundreds of messages, family members from both sides insisting that I take it down. I was told my sister hasn't stopped crying. My mom is now refusing to leave the house. Now, I may be the asshole here, but I didn't take it down when I got my messages. I didn't call my family back right away. I waited until my vacation time was over at work and enjoyed my time with my wife in our new home before I contacted anyone. My dad told me to take the video down. It was just a bad night for them. Then he said that he promises that they'll make it up to me and my wife for not coming. My reply was exactly, how do you plan to make up my wedding? It was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and you chose to ignore my feelings on the whole matter. Then he just repeated that he'll make it up to me. I told him that I would take down the video only when he could make up to me missing my wedding. Flustered, we both hung up the phone before we both said things that we probably shouldn't have. So, am I wrong here? I mean, I could have just taken the video down. Am I the asshole for wearing the joke bikini my friend got me? So, it was my birthday a couple of months ago. I had a party and I got some gifts. My friend Mandy got me a super cute bikini. I liked it, said thanks, and she had ripped the tags off, but whatever. Anyway, I went to the community pool with my roommate, wore the bikini, got in the water, and my roommate immediately says, girl? I look down and see that the bikini is now kind of see-through. Haha, good joke, Mandy. Anyway, Mandy invited me over to her place to hang out with her and her boyfriend and a few others. Most of the other people leave and we were still hanging out. I was like, what if we get in your hot tub? She thought that was a good idea, so we all went to change. I met her boyfriend in the hot tub while she was getting drinks. I hopped in and immediately he's looking at my chest. I pretended like I didn't notice and just made small talk. She comes out a few minutes later and just looks in shock. Eventually, she gets in. She asked, is that the one I bought? I replied, yeah, I love it. I wear it everywhere. Then I made up a story about how I wore it to the beach, to some party with lots of guys, etc. She was just like, oh. So we're talking in the tub for about 20 to 30 minutes. Eventually, we get out and change back to our regular clothes. She approached me after and was like, I'm sorry, I thought you'd notice, but the swimsuit gets kind of see-through when you get in the water. I was like, yeah, I know. Why'd you buy me a freaking see-through bathing suit? She's all, it's a joke. Wait, you knew? So you just spent the last 30 minutes flashing my boyfriend on purpose? I replied that I'm just wearing my birthday gift from her, so I didn't think she would mind. So yeah, I know I flashed her boyfriend on purpose, but does that make me the asshole? Am I the asshole for ruining both of my parents' marriages for disowning me? I am the byproduct of my parents' extramarital affair. Both of them had spouses at the time. My birth mother got pregnant and had to tell her husband, as he was overseas when I was conceived, so there was no way that I was his. A few months after I was born, they decided not to divorce. I was given to my grandparents on my mother's side to be raised, while my birth father was secretly paying child support without his wife's knowledge. Both of my parents had other children. My dad's side knows nothing about me, but my siblings on my mom's side were told that I am adopted by my grandparents. Recently, I decided that I wanted to know more about my dad's family, and so I sent a friend request to one of my siblings and my dad so that I could get to know him. Well, he freaked out and contacted my birth mom, and they asked to speak to me over Skype. They both told me that they could not risk staying in contact with me. They told me that they were going no contact, and they wanted me to please respect their decision and to just move on with my life. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Well, I did pretty much the opposite. I contacted my dad's wife and shared screenshots of our conversations and told her everything. Oh my goodness, this is awkward. She is now divorcing him, while on my mother's side, I told both my siblings, who then went on to tell my extended family, including her husband's side, so now they are separated and my siblings hate my mother. My siblings' lives have been upturned, and after the satisfaction wore off, I feel like I unnecessarily hurt them and my parents. So am I the asshole for ruining their marriage? Am I the asshole for bringing my sister-in-law's wallet to the restaurant when she conveniently always forgets it? My female 28 sister-in-law, Amy, female 26, always comes to visit from out of town. She stays with us instead of a hotel and always wants to go to expensive restaurants. But here's the thing. She always conveniently forgets her wallet or comes up with some excuse as to why she can't pay her share. She has implied that since I make much more money than her, I should be the one to pay. And no, not my husband, her brother should pay, but me specifically. I do make a fair amount of money, but not so much that I can treat someone every time they come into town. Nonetheless, in the past, I've always just paid the bill and just asked her to pay me back, but she never has. Well, anyways, when she came this time, she made reservations at an extremely expensive restaurant last night. And before we left, I made it clear that I would not be paying her bill. This is where I might be an asshole. And I'll admit, I got this move straight from an episode of 2.5 Men. As we were leaving, her and my husband went to the car. I pretended that I forgot something and went back inside. I found her wallet sitting right on top of her suitcase. I put it in my purse and we went to the restaurant. When we were done eating, I asked for separate bills. She said, "No, we need one bill because I forgot my wallet again." I reached in my purse and said, "This wallet?" She was extremely furious. She said that I should not have touched or grabbed her wallet. So, am I the asshole for taking her wallet and bringing it to the restaurant? And here is a quick update. Amy just called me. She saw this post and she yelled at me for bad-mouthing her on the internet. To be honest, I don't care. Amy, hopefully reading all of these comments is a wake-up call for you. Oh my gosh, I love this OP. Like, she did what she needed to do. Am I the asshole for not letting my daughter use her college fund for a wedding or a house? Backstory. I, 43 female, have 4 kids. Elle, 22 female, Katie, 17 female, Cam, 15 male, and Isla, 5 female. And I'm also currently pregnant. Me and my husband, 50 male, started adding to college funds every month for each of our kids pretty much as soon as we found out that we were pregnant. I won't say the exact amount, but my husband has an excellent job, so it's more than most. We never told the kids because it just didn't feel necessary. Elle got pregnant when she was 16 and ended up dropping out of school. I was very disappointed but understood. However, I was under the impression that she would return to school later, but she has no plans to. The dad stuck around and now they have one more kid, a 3-year-old, and one on the way. They're engaged, but they don't plan to marry until they can afford it. They were doing okay financially for a while, but due to the market right now, they've been struggling because Elle can't get a job since she doesn't have a diploma, so we've been loaning them money. Katie is a senior and just got accepted into college. We've been setting everything up, and obviously she knows about the fund now. Katie and Elle were talking, and she was telling Elle about the school, and Elle asked how she was planning on paying for it. Katie responded, "With my college fund." I was in the room when they started talking about it, and it made me panic. We had just planned on splitting it between the remaining 4 since we knew that they were going to go to college. Elle asked me if they all had one, and I wasn't going to lie, so I said yes. She got really excited and went to call her fiance and tell him the good news. I was confused and told her she couldn't have the money. She asked why, and I said that it was for school. She got upset and then left my house. The next day, I got a call from Elle. She was crying and begging for me to let her have her funds so that she could finally afford a down payment and maybe even a wedding. I told her she could have the money if she went back to school, and whatever money was left over, she could use for whatever she wanted. She got super mad and started yelling at me saying that it was her money. I told her that it was my money and those were my conditions, and then she hung up on me. Now we're being harassed by her fiance's family. They're calling us assholes and a lot of other names, saying that it's all gonna go to waste if she doesn't use it, saying that we're setting her up for failure, etc. Now I'm wondering if I'm the asshole because my dad said that we should just give her the money that we saved for her after all. So am I the asshole? Quick update. My daughter came over on Thursday and we were able to work things out. We both apologized and had a long discussion. She's going to be getting her GED and going to trade school in exchange for me giving her whatever money is left over. She hasn't decided where she's going to go yet, but she's thinking she wants to do cosmetology. Her fiance's family has apologized. And as an apology, we decided to pay for a small wedding and reception as a gift. Am I the asshole for not forcing my foster kid to go to church? My wife, 35 female, and I, 34 male, have decided to be foster parents after not being able to have children. Our current foster child, Hope, is 15 and Jewish. We're Christians. My wife is really committed to her faith and won't hesitate to push it onto others. This past week, my wife would put crosses up in Hope's room when she wasn't there. And when she would return, Hope would take them down after I apologized for my wife's behavior. Hope hates confrontation and is a generally quiet girl. I have spoken to my wife about this privately, and she believes that she's getting rid of the Jewishness. I don't like it, and I don't think it's right that she does this. When Sunday came, first Sunday that we've had her, my wife woke up and demanded that she went to church with us. I heard this outside of Hope's room, as our walls are very thin. Hope kept stuttering, and I felt like my wife was exploiting that. I stormed in and told my wife that she needs to respect Hope's religion and let it be. She looked shocked, as if she expected me to take her side. She stormed out of Hope's room, grabbed clothes, and took one of our cars and is currently staying at my mother-in-law's house. I told Hope that she doesn't need to go to church and that I would skip that day to stay home with her. My wife is furious at me, and my in-laws think that I'm in the wrong. My parents died in a house fire 10 years ago. I'm not sure about it, so am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my daughter she cannot introduce her African-American boyfriend to her grandparents? My daughter Anna has recently started to date an African-American man, Jamal. While I'm not exactly what you would refer to as a liberal, he's a nice guy, and as long as my daughter's happy, I'm happy. The problem is, Anna is rather naive about the community that she lives in. While her friends are quite content to see relationships like hers, more than a few tongues are wagging in the community, and a few people have privately expressed their concerns to me. Of course, every time they come to me, I set them straight, but I am painfully aware of how these matters are viewed by certain segments of the population. My parents are coming to stay with us for the week, and Anna expressed a desire to introduce Jamal to them, as things are starting to get a lot more serious between them. I told her no way in hell was that going to happen. I don't have a problem with Jamal, but they absolutely will. And even when the relationship ends, they'll never let it go. To be honest, they might cut her off completely. Now Anna's calling me racist for defending my parents. Drop a comment for the update. So like I was saying, I told my daughter that she cannot introduce her black boyfriend to her grandparents. And she got really mad and implied that I'm a racist and was more concerned about my parents than how she feels. So, update, she's currently staying with Jamal and doesn't want to speak to me right now. My wife is standing by me because she knows how my parents are. I mean, they had a problem with my wife for the length of skirt that she wore when I introduced them to her for years. But my friend told me that I need to focus more on my daughter than pleasing my parents and that I'm being an ass. So, am I? Am I the asshole for threatening to sue my sister because her kids broke my iPad? Okay, so for starters, my sister has 3 kids, 4, 6, and 8. We were all staying at my parents' house for the holidays. I have a 1 terabyte iPad Pro with the largest screen model that I use for my job. Needless to say, it was expensive. I do digital commissions, design band posters, and design flyers to make money on the side as I'm in college. I saved up for a whole year to buy this iPad. I left it plugged into my father's study where I was working on some projects the night before. I got up in the morning to find the thing shattered in the living room. My sister nonchalantly apologized and said, "Oh, sorry, the kids broke the screen." Dad said he has a new one that he'll give you to replace it. She didn't even bother to wake me up when she saw that they broke it. I asked her why she wasn't watching her fucking kids and how they got my iPad. She said she gave it to them so they could watch. My sister said she gave her kids my $1,500 iPad to watch YouTube on. Obviously, I started yelling at her, and I asked her what gave her the nerve to let her kids use my stuff without asking me first. She called me selfish. Then she said that they're my nieces and nephews, and I should want to share with them. What the hell? My dad then tried to give me an iPad Air and tell me that it was the same thing. I told him it was unacceptable and that I wanted my iPad replaced immediately. He said he didn't have the money, so I went to my sister and demanded the money. She tried to ask if she could make payments as the cost would wipe out all of her savings. I said, hell no. I wanted the full cost of the iPad, the pencil, and the $250 that I was going to miss out on because I couldn't finish the project that I was working on. So the total was around $2,200. She tried to call me heartless and told me to think of my niece and nephew. I told her to go fuck herself, and if she was a better mother, she would have saved more than $2,000 having 3 kids. My parents think I'm overreacting, but I don't. Now she's avoiding me and not talking to me, but I told her that I'm going to sue her for the full cost of my iPad. I mean, am I the asshole for suing my broke sister just because she can't watch her fucking kids? Am I wrong for refusing to stop cooking bacon in the kitchen due to my teenage daughter's vegan lifestyle? Okay, so I'm a father who loves his daughter to pieces, but I just can't see eye to eye with her and my wife on this. We've always been a meat-eating family. We live in rural Midwest, and bacon for breakfast is pretty much a given. Well, this year, my 14-year-old daughter decided to go vegan, and I supported her with enthusiasm. We learned to cook new things and substitute ingredients all for her. But recently, she saw me cooking bacon in a pan, and then I rinsed it out and loaded the dishwasher. She literally exploded in anger. She said that that pan was for her vegan food. At this point, I said, "Kiddo, this is a family pan. It's older than you. It's not your pan." Then she asked if I can just buy her her own pan so that she can use it only for vegan food. So, me being supportive, I said sure. However, that wasn't good enough. Now apparently the dishwasher is contaminated with animal product, and the fridge has bacon grease fingers on it. And now she's asking me and my wife to just stop eating meat at the house altogether. Frankly, I'm on team hell no. But her mom is telling me we should strongly consider taking our daughter's request. Okay, so like I was saying, when my 14-year-old daughter became a vegan, she asked that we stop eating meat in the house altogether. And I said, hell no. Now my wife is saying that I need to reconsider my decision because she does not want our daughter feeling uncomfortable in her own home. She did bring up a good point that we do live really close to our parents, so we could always eat meat products there. But I think I should be able to eat whatever I want in my own home. My daughter says that the look of the meat in the fridge makes her physically ill, which I think is a little bit ridiculous. I mean, I feel bad for her, but I refuse to stop eating meat in my own home. Does that make me an asshole? Am I the asshole for refusing to give my niece our dog's room? For the past month, my 24-year-old niece has been living with us. I'll call her Princess because that's what her parents call her most of the time. She's a medical researcher in the town that I live. My sister convinced me to let her stay so she can save money. I was apprehensive because I know this girl has been coddled and babied since she was little. We have a 4-bedroom house. Me, my husband, my 16-year-old son, and my 21-year-old daughter, and then our 4-year-old Rottweiler, Pretty. I told my sister that Princess would have to sleep on the sofa in the living room, which she seemed okay with. But when she arrived, both mother and daughter set about trying to convince me to clear out the dog's room and let her sleep in it. Princess even said it would be okay to make him sleep outside because it's just a dog. I would never make my dog sleep outside. I told my niece that she is not sleeping in my dog's room. If she was going to be in my house, she was going to sleep on the couch. Take it or leave it. Then she started complaining about how we think a dog is more important than her. In all honesty, I was right in thinking having Princess stay was going to be more trouble than it's worth. She goes out clubbing and partying a lot and makes no effort to keep it down when she comes home at like 2 a.m. Ever since she got here, the living room always smells of weed, and that smell definitely wasn't there before she came. She's also rude to my kids. My daughter got engaged and we were all delighted, but Princess was lovely enough to say that if her boyfriend had gotten her a cheap ring like that, she wouldn't have even gotten out of bed for the wedding. My daughter was in tears because of this, so me and her husband had a word with Princess, who then cried and phoned up her mother saying that we were rude to her. Talked to my sister again today, and she's still trying to convince me to put her daughter in the dog's room. I made it clear that that wasn't happening, and my sister got upset at me saying how nasty it is to value a pet over family. I told her it was only a matter of time before I was going to kick Princess out on the streets. Is that mean? Am I wrong for picking the same name for my baby as my brother-in-law's unborn baby? My 31 female, husband 33 male, and his brother 36 male aren't super close. But we all get along well. My brother-in-law is pretty nice overall, but he does seem a bit jealous of my husband and just everything we have. My husband told me that it's always been like this, so it's not really a big deal. I'm currently pregnant with a baby girl, our first baby, and we've been discussing possible names. There's one that we're pretty sure of. It's not super out there, but I think it's pretty unique nowadays and I really like it. The issue is, this is the name that my brother-in-law and his girlfriend had picked out for their baby 3 years ago, if it was a girl, because they didn't know yet. Unfortunately, the baby didn't make it. His girlfriend chose the name from her favorite ballet, and I remember that she would say if she ever had a daughter, she would definitely name her that. We were at a family event over the weekend, and I mentioned that we had that name in mind. My brother-in-law looked kind of surprised and said that it was the name that they had picked for their daughter. My husband said that we know and we just thought it was a really nice name. My brother-in-law started asking if we could reconsider and that there were other names, and this one is really special to him. I said that we decided on the name and that he actually didn't even know if his baby was going to be a boy or a girl. He was upset and kept saying that we should reconsider. I got a little mad and told him that he doesn't own the name and they should be hoping for a healthy baby rather than worrying about the name. My brother-in-law finally dropped it after that, but my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, told me and my husband that we don't care and we're intentionally hurting him. So, are we wrong for picking the same name that my brother-in-law was going to choose for his daughter? Am I the asshole for telling my daughter she cannot introduce her African American boyfriend to her grandparents? My daughter Anna has recently started to date an African American man, Jamal. While I'm not exactly what you would refer to as a liberal, he's a nice guy, and as long as my daughter's happy, I'm happy. The problem is, Anna is rather naive about the community that she lives in. While her friends are quite content to see relationships like hers, more than a few tongues are wagging in the community, and a few people have privately expressed their concerns to me. Of course, every time they come to me, I set them straight, but I am painfully aware of how these matters are viewed by certain segments of the population. My parents are coming to stay with us for the week, and Anna expressed a desire to introduce Jamal to them, as things are starting to get a lot more serious between them. I told her no way in hell was that going to happen. I don't have a problem with Jamal, but they absolutely will. And even when the relationship ends, they'll never let it go. To be honest, they might cut her off completely. Now Anna's calling me racist for defending my parents. Drop a comment for the update. So like I was saying, I told my daughter that she cannot introduce her black boyfriend to her grandparents. And she got really mad and implied that I'm a racist and was more concerned about my parents than how she feels. So, update, she's currently staying with Jamal and doesn't want to speak to me right now. My wife is standing by me because she knows how my parents are. I mean, they had a problem with my wife for the length of skirt that she wore when I introduced them to her for years. But my friend told me that I need to focus more on my daughter than pleasing my parents and that I'm being an ass. So, am I?